Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping away from typical research topics. We're diving into a story that starts with personal tragedy and spirals into a lethal global conspiracy.
That's right. Our source material follows Louise Cantor. She's a classical archaeologist, usually focused on, Bronze Age Greece, Argolis specifically.
Sun-drenched ruins, ancient history. But that world gets completely shattered. She's pulled back to Stockholm.
Because her son, Henrik, he's been found dead. And the initial ruling, suicide. Just like that.
But Louise, well, her whole career is about spotting things that don't fit, anomalies, details that just scream out that the story's wrong.
And she sees it immediately, at the scene. One detail that completely undermines the suicide verdict.
It's forensic evidence, but it's incredibly personal, almost mundane, really.
The blue pajamas.
Exactly. Henrik's found in bed, under the covers, wearing these pajamas.
But Louise knows, absolutely knows. Her son always slept naked.
Always. No question.
And that tiny detail, that piece of clothing, it changes everything. It turns this awful personal loss into the start of a hunt.
A global investigation, really, because if it wasn't suicide, it was murder. And those pajamas, they're like the key. They prove the scene was staged.
So Louise, the archaeologist, has to start digging again. But this time, it's not ancient ruins. It's the hidden life of her own son.
Yeah, and our mission today is to unpack that, how Henrik's seemingly strange obsessions led him into danger.
Two big ones, right? First, this really weird historical mystery. The actual physical brain of President John F. Kennedy, it vanished after the autopsy in '63.
Vanished, and Henrik was obsessed with finding out why. And second, something much more modern.
A conspiracy involving global health, big money, huge financial interests, things that seem totally disconnected at first glance.
Okay, let's unpack this then. It's a story where, grief becomes a driving force, and looking for answers about family leads straight into this massive dark web.
A web where secrets are basically assets, and telling the truth makes you vulnerable. Life itself is just expendable.
So where do we start with Henrik's research? What was he digging into?
Yeah, let's start there. He wasn't collecting artifacts. He was collecting pieces of stolen history. His main focus was JFK's brain.
Which is, I suppose, one of the most famous missing things in modern American history.
Totally. But look at how he thought about it. Not just as like a historical oddity.
Yeah.
He saw it as a hard drive or maybe a trophy, something containing information somebody powerful wanted suppressed, erased.
So Louise is thinking, what secrets could a dead president's brain possibly hold decades later that are still dangerous?
Exactly. What truth was locked away in there?
And as soon as she starts pulling on that thread, things shift. Fast. Away from old history and into, present-day crime.
Because she finds out Henrik wasn't just some quiet researcher. He had a whole secret life.
Which centered around a secret apartment?
Yeah, a flat in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And the street name is just dripping with dark irony. Christ's cul-de-sac.
Wow. Okay. And this hidden life, it wasn't cheap.
Not at all. That flat, they must have been funded by money. Lots of it. Unexplained money.
And that's the next shock for Louise, right? She's living this modest academic life, and she finds out Henrik
suddenly received $250,000 between 1998 and 2000. Just huge sums appearing in his accounts.
$250,000. Where does that come from? You have to ask, was he being paid for something? For silence? For information he'd found?
And then the files she finds give it this really chilling context. It wasn't just abstract research.
What'd she find?
Articles, clippings about the systematic blackmailing of people who were HIV positive.
Oh, wow. Exploiting their vulnerability, their need for privacy.
Absolutely. And the files even named one victim, a man called Steve Nichols. He committed suicide after someone threatened to expose his status.
Okay, so that makes it terrifyingly real. It connects everything.
Yeah, it links the historical secrecy, symbolized by JFK's missing brain.
Yeah.
The soul and truth.
To modern finance, big unexplained money, and the actual brutal exploitation of vulnerable people.
Exactly. It suggests there's this pattern, right? Certain truths about power, about health, about money, they get suppressed, whether it's 1963 or 2000.
And to follow that kind of truth, Louise realizes she needs help, technical help.
Which leads her to the next key figure, or maybe the next victim.
The pathfinders. The people who help show the way but seem to become targets themselves.
First up is Aaron, her estranged ex-husband. He's a computer whiz.
And she has to track him down. Where does she find him?
Of all places, Apollo Bay, Australia. He's kind of hiding out. And the way she makes contact is weird, too, through this sort of mysterious casual visitor she meets in a restaurant. Oscar London.
Which hints that maybe people are already watching her.
It definitely suggests a level of surveillance.
Mm.
But Aaron is crucial. He's the only one who can break into Henrik's encrypted computer files.
And he does it.
He does. He confirms the Barcelona flat, the money, all of it. But Louise sees something else in him. Deep fear. Yeah. He understands what they've stumbled into. Accessing Henrik's secrets puts them both right in the line of fire.
And things escalate really quickly from there.
They do. They travel to Barcelona together. Aaron lights a candle in this beautiful old church, the Iglesia de San Felipe Neri.
And then...
He just disappears, vanishes, gone without a trace,
Racist.
right in the middle of Barcelona.
Raced. It's clinical. Terrifying.
Leaves Louise completely alone. But she finds one last clue Aaron left behind, indirectly, in some old notes.
What is it?
Just 2 letters and a place name. C.H. Maputo.
C.H. Maputo. So the trail jumps continents. From Europe to Africa, Mozambique.
Yeah. And look at the pattern. Aaron, the Pathfinder, provides the key technical insight, cracks the code.
And gets eliminated.
Exactly. So now Louise has to follow this cryptic clue to Maputo. And there she finds the next Pathfinder.
Lucinda.
Lucinda, a woman Henrik knew, someone he was supporting financially, and crucially, someone who also believed Henrik was murdered.
So Lucinda becomes the next guide, taking the investigation out of, like, finance and history and into something much more visceral.
Yes, into the world of human exploitation, hidden behind a mask of kindness. She leads Louise to a place called Zaishai.
And what's in Zaishai?
A village, set up by a man named Christian Holloway.
Christian Holloway, the CH from the note.
Presumably. He's the center of this storm now. He's incredibly wealthy, made his fortune in the egg industry, of all things.
Eggs, okay. And he presents himself as?
A philanthropist, a
Yeah.
humanitarian. His village in Zaishai is supposedly for AIDS sufferers, providing care, support.
Perfect benevolent facade.
Textbook example. But Louise meets a journalist there, Nuno da Silva.
And he doesn't buy the charity act.
Not for a second. Da Silva tells her the rumors that Holloway runs secret labs somewhere in Africa,
Secret labs for what?
looking for an AIDS cure. Da Silva calls it a new Solomon's Mines. But the terrifying suggestion is how he's doing it.
Using the patients.
Using them as human guinea pigs or monkeys. That's the accusation.
My God. It raises huge ethical questions, doesn't it? Western money, power, exploiting extreme poverty under the guise of help.
Precisely. And the story gives this horrific historical context, too. It's not just a modern horror.
How so?
Through Adelino,
Okay.
an old man who tells Louise about his experiences in the Congo back in the 1950s.
What did he see?
He talks about being forced to kill chimpanzees for organ research. But much worse, he saw people, humans,
Yeah.
being cut open while still alive in a hidden lab to harvest their organs.
No, that draws a direct, brutal line from the colonial past to Holloway's alleged actions now.
It absolutely does. It frames Holloway's work not as some new aberration, but as a continuation of exploiting Africa as a kind of
Yeah.
living laboratory. It's horrifying.
And Louise gets confirmation that Holloway is the guy, right? The direct link.
Yes. She remembers something she found in Henrik's bag back in Stockholm. A small, black paper silhouette.
A silhouette, like an old-fashioned profile portrait.
Exactly. And she realizes who it's a profile of. Christian Holloway.
So he's not just funding this. He's personally involved. He's the CH. He's the man who cuts things out. The silhouettist.
And his own words betray his ruthlessness. He has this chilling analogy about chickens fighting back when being killed.
What does he say?
He says, the hens put up resistance, and by doing so ensured that they would suffer an agonizing death. He basically sees struggle as justification for cruelty, power justifying its own violence.
That's incredibly disturbing. And this isn't just philosophy, is it? He acts on it.
Oh, he acts. He actually shows up in Louise's hotel room. He's good at lockpicking, apparently.
Yeah.
One of his unusual accomplishments.
Along with cutting silhouettes. So he confronts her.
Tries to feel her out,
Shut.
gauge how much she knows, how dangerous she is to him.
And then the violence really ramps up. The final act begins.
Yes, the body count starts climbing fast. First, Umbi, a patient from Holloway's village who tried to talk to Louise to tell her what was really happening.
What happens to him?
Found dead, throat slit.
Jesus. And then Lucinda, the last Pathfinder.
Lucinda arranges to meet Louise at night. Says she knows the end of the story. She needs to tell her everything.
Yeah.
As she starts to speak, she's shot, instantly killed. A single bullet to the head.
Right in front of Louise. The Pathfinders. Systematically erased.
But Lucinda's death, horrific as it is, provides the final key for Louise. It solves the two biggest mysteries.
How?
The wound. Louise notices the exact spot the bullet entered Lucinda's head.
Where was it?
She says it was exactly the same place as the bullet had entered John F. Kennedy's brain.
Wait, you're saying Holloway or whoever pulled the trigger for him, they're deliberately mimicking the Kennedy assassination wound.
That's the implication. The silhouettist isn't just killing people. He's leaving this grotesque, symbolic signature.
Connecting his present-day murders back to that ultimate symbol of a covered-up truth, JFK's death, and the missing brain Henrik was obsessed with. That's chilling.
It ties it all together. The stolen brain symbolized the hidden, dangerous secret. Holloway is recreating that symbolic violence as he eliminates those who get too close.
And that leaves just one piece of the puzzle. The first piece. The pajamas.
The pajamas. Louise finally understands. The killer, Holloway, staged the scene. Sleeping pills, pajamas. Making it look like a quiet, almost wimpish suicide.
It was psychological cruelty, a final insult, and a message.
But it was also a mistake.
Yeah.
A clumsy one. They put the pajamas on Henrik, assuming that's how people sleep. Not knowing him, not knowing he always slept naked.
So the killer, brilliant in his own twisted way with finance, labs, maybe even murder, failed on the most basic human detail.
Exactly. Arrogance and ignorance. And the motive becomes clear, too. Henrik, who Louise realizes must have been HIV positive himself.
He'd found the proof.
Proof that Holloway wasn't curing people, he was murdering the dying. Likely for research, maybe for profit. Harvesting something from them. Henrik found the truth about the Solomon's mines.
And exposing that got him killed, staged to look like despair.
Yes. His death was the direct consequence of uncovering Holloway's monstrous operation.
So Louise's journey, starting from that gut feeling about the pajamas, it took her from Greece to Sweden, Australia, Spain, and finally to Mozambique.
Uncovering this horrifying reality hidden under layers of charity and historical mystery.
The conspiracy is exposed, Holloway is revealed, but there's that lingering philosophical idea, isn't there?
Right, the unpaintable wave.
Yeah.
Something Aaron said to Louise before he vanished.
What was it again?
He said no artist could ever paint an ocean wave to the wave's own satisfaction. Meaning some things are just too big, too powerful, too complex for us to truly capture or understand, like maybe immense suffering or the reality of death itself.
So the archaeologist digging for facts, the computer expert trying to decode data, even the philanthropist trying to control life and death. Maybe they all fall short when faced with these overwhelming forces.
It suggests a limit to our knowledge, our control. Even when we uncover a conspiracy like Holloway's, the deeper currents of human vulnerability, exploitation, maybe even greed, they might remain, like that unpaintable wave.
That is a powerful thought to end on. It leaves us, and you listening, with a question, doesn't it?
I think so.
If the kind of systemic suffering and ruthless greed that Henrik uncovered are like those waves, what other huge truths about our world, about the real costs hidden behind profit or charity, remain fundamentally elusive? What can't we quite grasp, no matter how hard we dig or analyze?
Something to definitely think about as you look at the world around you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.